My name is Teedra Moses. I am the Lioness, and I am a singer and songwriter. I was born and raised in New Orleans, Louisiana. Actually, right outside of New Orleans. New Orleans is the biggest city, but Kenner, Louisiana, to be exact. I came to Altadena by way of West Covina. I moved to West Covina when I was 14 years old. My mother moved here to California, and she worked in Pasadena. My sister met her husband, who lived and grew up in Altadena, and somehow our family just kind of migrated to Altadena. My sister bought a home first. I lived in LA at the time. Then eventually my mom passed, she lived with my sister, and then I bought a home in Altadena. My brother moved to Altadena, my younger sister moved to Altadena, and we all just ended up in Altadena. I went to an all-black Catholic school in New Orleans, which is like kind of common that most people, even very poor people, go to Catholic school in New Orleans and private school. And we sang a lot of church songs for our Catholic school services, our Catholic church services. And we had a teacher by the name of Miss Chatters, and she would make us harmonize and things like that. And I thought then that maybe I had a decent voice. My mother would always say, you know, you can sing, because my mother could sing when I was younger. She was a gospel singer, but she stripped her vocal cords and she couldn't sing anymore. And then I guess at around a time about 14, 15, I started rapping, and I like to rap a lot. And I would do like melodic things, and people would like it. But when I really came to realize that my voice was unique, my best friend Nanja McKenzie, who's a fashion designer, met her in high school in West Covina when I first moved to California, and she would sing in the car. She sounded really bad. She sounded really bad. Everyone I'd ever been around sound pretty good, but she sounds so bad that I realized this is not something that everyone can do. You know, some people actually cannot hold a note. And at that point I knew it was something unique. And it took me a long time, from the time of 14 to like early 20s, to actually start using my voice. My first record deal came from, I met up with this guy by the name of Paul Pauly, who was a producer that worked with my children's father, whose name is Razkaz. He and I were together since I was like 14, 15. And we were parting ways at that time, and he said he would introduce me to some producers. And I met up with a guy by the name of Paul Pauly and another guy by the name of DJ Khalil, who are both very established producers at this point in life. And Paul Pauly and I clicked, and we started to make an album. And we went out and we shopped it, and within 6 months we had a deal. It wasn't very hard. Complex Simplicity is the name of my first album. The first album was a really huge blessing, because I prayed and asked God to put me where I was supposed to be. Now, I thought that was going to be some major label, but it ended up being a very small label by the name of TBT, which is not even in existence anymore. And that first album is an album that is now deemed as like a cult classic. People around the world know me for that album. I put out a lot of music since that album, but that album is the album that keeps people tied to me. I think that where I was in life at that time and how I expressed myself, a lot of people could relate. And because I was a little, I was very vulnerable in my way of singing, so it was very honest, people just really took to it. And that album is the reason that everything since that album has happened. I'm still singing and writing songs from Complex Simplicity, my first album, which came out in 2004. I had a lot of opportunities to write for artists like Mary J. Blige, Macy Gray, Raphael Steak, so many different artists, Kelly Rowland, and that helped me get myself more into the industry. Since then, I fell back off of writing for people and started writing for myself again, and last year I put out an album by the name of Cognac and Conversation, which is another album that is getting, it's a slow burn, just like Complex Simplicity, but it's getting that same critical acclaim in its uniqueness. And I've been touring for the past 10 years, from Complex Simplicity to now to Cognac and Conversation, from here in America to Europe, and that's basically what I've been doing. I'm working on a new project right now that's called One Night in LA, because I've been in LA now for 4 months for most of this year. I live in Miami though, because I've been working so much here. So I decided to do a project with a lot of the creatives that I know here, that I've come up with, and we're doing a project called One Night in LA. Black Moses Music presents One Night in LA, which is Black Moses Music is my label. Well, I think that what most common people don't understand about the music industry is that it is one that is manipulated by money, and the funding has to be there. People don't just decide, oh, we're gonna put this person on the radio because they're good. This person has a record label that has a person that goes in, that's being paid to go into the radio station and constantly push people to play, you know, the program director to play these records. These people aren't on these late night shows performing because they say, oh, this artist is good, let's just have him. There's a booking talent booker that the PR person from the label is pushing them to put them on their show. Everything is solicited and it has to be paid for. And when you're a small entity, as myself, I've always been indie. Whatever comes to me is someone actually liking me. You know, if you're an independent artist, you either hire people to do PR and radio and all these different things, or you have favor. You have favor from people that actually do really like your craft. It's just a money game, you know. And where the powers that be choose to put their money is normally not in R&B and soul music, unless it's someone other than a black person doing it, because they feel like that's lucrative, they feel like that's unique. I don't think they feel it's unique for a black woman to be able to sing beautiful songs, because they just assume we as black people can sing and dance anyway, you know. So it's just not special to them. They don't feel like that's something they can really market. So it's just one of those things where it comes down to the dollar, you know. And it takes the people, which has always been the great thing about my career. The people have definitely fed me and kept me going. The people at KJLH, I don't push them to ask them to play my record. I just have great relationships with them. They've met me, they like my personality, they like my music, and they support it. And that's a thing of the past almost, but it's kind of the only way artists can truly survive doing R&B music, or what we call real music. My music is at teedramoses.org. I'm at Teedra Moses on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. I'm on Snapchat, but I'm very rarely there. So if you are on Snapchat, please go follow me, because I don't have really much followers on Snapchat. But yeah, and I'm around Altadena all the time. So if you see me, say hi.